The dark side of 12-step programs. Okay, so the world's most famous recovery program? It often boasts a success rate as low as 5%. Think about that. For every individual it genuinely helps, it could be falling short for as many as 19 others. If you've ever been in that group of 19, feeling like you were the failure when the program just didn't click, then trust me, this video is absolutely for you. We're going to pull back the curtain on two fundamental flaws baked right into the 12-step model: inconsistent engagement and a profound, sometimes damaging, lack of personalization that leaves so many feeling lost. Section 1. Introduction. Look, I'm absolutely not here to bash anyone who finds solace in sobriety in AA or NA. If it's working for you, genuinely, keep doing your thing. But if you've ever left a meeting feeling more broken, more confused, or just plain worse than when you walked in, then please, stick around. I've spent the last 3 years really digging deep, through peer-reviewed studies, cold hard relapse data, and literally thousands of Reddit threads from people who felt they had to stay silent, because the mantra was always, the program works if you work it. Well, spoiler alert, the data tells a very different story. Section 2, Flaw 1, Inconsistent Engagement. Imagine for a second signing up for a gym where nobody tracks your attendance. The trainers are just volunteers, and the doors open 24/7. But honestly, no one really cares if you ever show up. That's pretty much your standard 12-step meeting. And guess what? Research consistently shows over 60% of newcomers just stop attending within that crucial first month. This attrition isn't some rare anomaly. It's so predictable that old-timers grimly call it the revolving door. Without any professional follow-up or structured accountability, slipping through the cracks isn't just a possibility. It's practically the default setting. Now, contrast that with something like manualized 12-step facilitation, or TSF. That's the therapy version often used in clinical trials. Here, a trained therapist actually checks your progress, helps you set realistic goals, and genuinely keeps you accountable. In those TSF studies, we see around 42% of people staying abstinent at 1 year. That's a stark difference compared to the single-digit numbers you often get with unstructured drop-in meetings alone. The moral of the story: peer support can be incredibly powerful, absolutely. But unstructured, unguided peer support? That, my friends, is often just a coin toss. Section 3, Flaw 2, One-size-fits-all dogma. Step 1, right out of the gate, tells every newcomer, we admitted we were powerless. For some, I get it. That can feel incredibly liberating, a huge weight lifted. But for many trauma survivors, imagine how that lands. It can feel less like surrender and more like handing the steering wheel right back to an abuser. The program's own founding text explicitly states its methods are merely suggested. Yet in practice, any form of dissent or questioning is often quickly framed as self will run riot. It's a subtle but powerful shaming mechanism. If you relapse, the stock, almost automatic response is, well, you just didn't work the steps hard enough, effectively turning a complex medical condition into a personal moral failing. Can you imagine telling a diabetic whose glucose spikes, you didn't pray hard enough for that insulin to work? Modern evidence-based guidelines, on the other hand, scream for individualized care, assessing co-occurring disorders, adjusting therapy styles to fit the person, and often using FDA-approved medications to genuinely curb cravings. Yet, 12-step orthodoxy often rejects most of these proven tools. So, someone grappling with panic disorder, ADHD, or a severe opioid use disorder might just get handed the exact same 6-page worksheet that was mimeographed back in 1952. Is it any wonder, then, that relapse rates often top 60%? Section 4, Real-World Fallout. Seriously, I get emails every single week that read something like this. I did 90 meetings in 90 days. I got a sponsor, I did everything they told me, and I still drank. Now I'm utterly terrified I'm just hopeless. When the only narrative consistently on offer is AA or death, Any perceived failure within the program can feel like an actual death sentence. It's a psychological trap that's hard to escape. This psychological trap, this feeling of hopelessness, often keeps people cycling through incredibly expensive rehabs. They'll milk insurance for detox, maybe shove clients into a few meetings, and then act utterly surprised when those same clients are back 6 months later. Meanwhile, clinical trials that thoughtfully integrate things like cognitive behavioral therapy, motivational interviewing, and optional medication-assisted treatment. They're cutting relapse rates by up to 30%. The evidence is screaming loud and clear. It's just that the traditional culture often isn't listening. So, if any of this resonates with you, please drop a comment below. What frustrated you most about 12-step programs? Your story, your experience, might just save someone else from needlessly blaming themselves. Section 5. The alternative path. Here's the thing. Recovery isn't about some grand surrender of power. It's actually about skillfully redirecting it. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, for instance, actively teaches you tangible coping skills. So those cravings don't just hijack your brain and send you spiraling. Moderation works for some when partnered with tried and true methods and strategies such as drink limit, monthly planning, and time management. But nothing works as well as inviting Jesus into your recovery and making him your sponsor. Combine these evidence-based tools with a truly supportive community, whether that's a 12-step group or something entirely different, and that's when you start seeing those 40+% abstinence rates that clinicians are genuinely proud of. The bottom line is this: personalize the toolkit for the individual, professionalize the accountability, and absolutely keep that vital human connection with strong reliance on spirituality. That, my friends, is the powerful trifecta that actually sticks. So let's quickly recap. Flaw 1. Those open-door meetings with zero continuity? They often create what amounts to a dropout factory. Flaw 2. The dogmatic, one-size-fits-all universality ignores complex mental health needs and, unfortunately, shames countless people into silence. If the 12 steps genuinely worked for you, that's awesome. Seriously, keep marching. But if they didn't, if you struggled, please understand, you are not defective. The model itself is. Truly effective recovery is built on solid structure, sound science, and deep personalization, not just catchy slogans. Share your experience below. Hit subscribe if you want more evidence-based alternatives next week. And always, always remember this: the failure of a program is never, ever the failure of a person.